I'm here today with Peggy, who is the Chief Data Officer at BigID. Peggy, how are you doing?
Great, Evan. Thanks so much for inviting me today.
Could you first tell me a little bit about your role and kind of what the day-to-day operations look like as a Chief Data Officer?
Sure. So I am the Field Chief Data Officer of BigID. We are AI machine learning discovery platform company. So essentially, we are a vendor that provides products and services to many large enterprises around the world that has needs for privacy, security, and data protection. I work closely with our customers to really understand where they are in their journey on data and now with AI. And I really help to provide them with custom solutions that are often in the intersection of privacy and security or data and security. So a lot of my work is advisory, consulting, but I'm also very involved with building new products.
Diving back a little bit into sort of your career journey, can you tell me a little bit about your academic background and maybe how that's prepared you for your professional career?
I did an undergrad at Cornell University in economics. And when I started working full time, I also did a master's at New York University in information systems. But I would say that economics and information systems, those are not current really relevant in today's job market. I would say those are very basic and fundamental majors and core studies to have. If I were to go back to school today, I certainly would do more in cybersecurity or data analytics and take continue to take more technical classes. But so I would say that education has always been a continual learning journey for me. A lot of the things I've learned have been in attending conferences and taking online courses to really stay up to date with the changing technologies and where the job market is going today. There's a lot of overlaps in data and privacy that I never predicted, when I graduated college 20 plus years ago, right? So really looking forward to the future, what it holds is really important to staying current in your knowledge.
That's awesome. And we talked to another cybersecurity expert, and he also mentioned the importance of self-learning. He mentioned, when he was first getting into cybersecurity, he would, try to read a ton of books, go to Barnes and Noble, stay up to date on like the latest technologies and things like that. And I think that's something that's really important for our students to know is that, you're getting all this information in class, but also pursuing careers, you got to do some self-learning as well. Do you have any like particular resources that you think would be great for cybersecurity students?
So I would just preface that my background is not in cybersecurity. I've moved into this space. It's fairly new for me. My uh, work experience has been around data management, data governance, and I've moved now into AI governance and now privacy and security. So it's been a evolution of a journey. So I would say that students that are currently in studying cybersecurity and security, there are lots of virtual courses online. There are certifications that you can take as a student in these different areas. I think that will give you a jump start in your job. There's also groups, organizations that you can join, like ISACA, for example, is a great one. They have chapters all over where you can take these certifications and classes. And I really encourage students to participate and attend virtual, not just virtual, but also face-to-face meetups, especially if you live in a major city. There's plenty of chapters and cybersecurity groups that you can attend and conferences you can attend. And I highly recommend this because learning is not just about something you can read on a website or in a book. It's also about networking, talking to people in the industry, asking them what they think is the most relevant or understanding the trends. And this is not something that you're gonna get in a textbook. So really be engaged in this process because there's just a wealth of knowledge and the the height of cybersecurity is not even reached yet. There's going to be such a great demand for this field, and especially with AI, I think that it's just going to heighten the number of people that they're going to need to fill these jobs. So this is a great field to be in.
You mentioned networking as something that's really important, as more of a, I would say, a soft skill that's important to your job. So, how do you think you sort of balance technical skills and soft skills in your role?
I would say this from the premise of being a former data analyst. So I would say that at the beginning of my career, technical skills would probably be 80% of the job and soft skills 20%. But I think as you grow in your career, that changes, right? That actually becomes the inverse, where 80% of your role as a manager, as a team leader, is the soft skills. Soft skills meaning being able to have presentation skills, being able to collaborate with your peers. It's a lot more of the talking, the collaboration. That's more important to get the budgets, to get projects done, versus 20% is just still knowing the technical knowledge, but you have team members, your direct reports will be managing that day to day. So I think it's very important early on in your career to have very strong technical skills. That is fundamental for everybody to have the knowledge, but also be aware of what the soft skills are and take every opportunity to practice your soft skills. So I encourage students, and whenever I have an intern that's a college student, I encourage them to do as many public speaking, presentations, and just any opportunity to showcase their communication skills. This is important to practice in all different environments so that one, you don't get nervous, two, you get very comfortable with doing it. But I think the soft skills and learning how to negotiate, learning how to influence others, these are very basic skills. I think that's important whether you work for a large corporation or you want to, create your own startup, right? These are the soft skills that are, I feel, a necessity in life. And unfortunately, to be honest, I don't think they teach enough of it in undergrad and grad school. To be honest, I think it's something that you have to learn pretty quickly on the job. But I think that the more that students can do this when they're still students and there's a safe environment to do this, then the better they will be when they're actually in the corporate world.
I think that's great advice. I think especially after COVID and moving to online classes, doing our presentations online and coming back, it was definitely an adjustment period doing presentations again. And
Mhm.
even now, like, I still have a lot of online classes that I'm taking. And so I personally feel like I'm under practiced when it comes to presenting, and even like working in groups was a huge adjustment coming back out of COVID. So I definitely think it's something that should be stressed now more than ever. So I always like to ask this, was there a single factor or like one particular experience that was like an aha moment that like prepared you for your role?
This is a great question, Evan. And I don't think there was one particular turning point or tipping point for me that really defined or changed my career trajectory. I think for me, it's been a series of purposeful and calculated decisions that I made to increase my network. So I'll give you an example. Back in 2009, that's when I first joined Twitter. I was very involved in using LinkedIn. And for me, it was a decision because I wanted to expand my network. I wanted to be able to learn from other people outside of my day-to-day job, outside of my community of people. I wanted to create new connections and learn and understand what other people were doing, because obviously there's many great ideas outside of my little bubble in New York City, right? So for me, I took purposeful decision to attend as many in-person conferences as I could. In my early career, I even flew to Chicago or to California to attend different conferences. One, to meet new people, to hear different ideas, and to network. So I really always took a conscious decision to build my brand. And I don't think enough young professionals do that because they think that they can stay heads down, just do their job, and everything will be great and they'll get promoted and everything will be happy. And I think that works to some extent, but I think that if you're looking to really grow your career faster, it really helps to build this network. And in order to build a network, it's beyond going to conferences and learning. You have to do that, but you also have to be able to present yourself as external brand that positions you as an authority or an expert in your field, right? So for me, I focused on data governance because that was my study, that was all my experience. So I positioned myself as a subject matter expert in data governance. And as the, you know, changing regulations happened or where the tides were turning, it started to become more focused on privacy and now cybersecurity and now Gen AI and AI. So I've evolved data governance into these different factors as well. So AI governance, data governance, information data governance. So I was able to continually rebrand myself based on my core fundamental knowledge that differentiates me. And I've been able to do that on LinkedIn by writing articles. I speak on a lot of virtual webinars. And I've created that so that when I got my current role at BigID, one of the first things they looked at was actually my social media reputation and followers. And so I was able to secure this thought leadership role at BigID because I spent the prior 5+ years building myself up and building this large network in data and privacy. And now I'm growing that in the cybersecurity space. So lesson here is that there's a lot of things that students can be doing in terms of learning from others, joining different industry groups, but also thinking about how they can best position themselves as an authority or an expert in this field. And there's a lot that I see people do in terms of um, creating their brand. And there's many different ways to do that. And that's one of the things I talk about a lot.
I definitely don't think I consider the my brand and how I sell myself enough. A lot of it's about, my experiences or my resume, but it's important to also consider, how you portray yourself, how you market yourself. I think that's excellent insight. So what was the biggest obstacle that you encountered in your career and how were you able to overcome that?
Gosh, this is a could be a very loaded question. Obviously, there's a lot of obstacles young professionals face, especially in terms of breaking into the field. I think for me personally, being an Asian female, uh, I worked in technology companies, I worked in financial services companies. So these are traditionally male dominated industries. And I also say that security is also traditionally a male dominated field. So very difficult to break into if you are a female, only because it's the acceptance factor, right? Because if 9 out of 10 people in the room that are making the hiring decision is a male, there's, to be honest, a lack of diversity, right?
Mhm.
And I would say that for me, it's always been a challenge as a young, inexperienced professional. So always having to learn how to speak up for myself, to learn not to take things personally, business is business, and to be able to uh, create allies for myself has always been something I always had to work very hard at. But I have to say, luckily now at this point in my hopefully mid-career point, it's been a little easier because I've been able to establish my reputation, my career. But there's still, I would say, a lack of diversity. And I'm not just saying from a gender or ethnic point of view, there's always also lack of diversity when it comes to people that are not from the technology or security field that want to go into cybersecurity, right? So that in itself is a challenge because I think that cybersecurity is a field that is going to require representation and equality from all backgrounds, all people from different industries and majors and study. And that's where you're going to be able to solve and have the best solutions, right? Having this diversity of thought. This is a very important issue, and hopefully everyone can continue to advocate for more equal representation.
So you've given a ton of amazing advice that I think applies not only to cybersecurity, but to all fields. But if you would give one piece of advice to aspiring professionals in your field, what would it be?
Gosh, I'm trying to let me think of something that I haven't already repeated because I feel like it's important to build your brand. Um, and the continuous learning, I think I mentioned before, I just want to reiterate is key. And being able to articulate, here's my advice, to be able to articulate exactly your value add to the role or to the industry that you're looking to pursue, I think is very important. Oftentimes, I would say young professionals uh, don't have that clarity as to what they want, and also being able to align their personal strengths and values to that. So the sooner and quicker that you're able to align your passion to the role that you're looking to apply to or get into, I think it makes yourself much more authentic when you're interviewing and when you're networking with professionals. It makes it much more clear as to why you are the perfect candidate. And also, lastly, sorry, more advice I love to give out
We
is not
love
to
advice.
never to underestimate yourself. And I think that this is where a lot of students, and I've felt this way in the past myself, is you may feel that you're inadequate in terms of, oh, I don't have enough class coursework, or my GPA is too low, or you know, there's tons of areas where we can all potentially be weak at, but to focus on your strengths, I think that oftentimes that will be a great asset. Everyone is unique, but to focus on your strengths and to work on your weaknesses at the same time, I think that will help you make yourself a more well-rounded candidate and also employee as well. But being your authentic self, knowing what your true strengths are, right? Because there's plenty of opportunities out there. I would say for cybersecurity, security itself, there are technical roles, but there's also going to be roles that are more on the soft skill side, and roles that require more humanities, project management. So non-technical roles in security are also going to be very abundant. So I don't think that because you don't have certain skills that you cannot get into this field. There are definitely ways and other roles that will be in this industry as long as you want to be in it.